Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Cameron here. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be going over all the best settings for Fortnite in Season 6, Chapter 2. I wanted to actually wait a few days because the season just launched. I wanted to test out a few settings to see what feels best for me personally. And to be honest, guys, not to let your hopes down, but there's not a whole lot of changes in the last season update. So I just want to cover this quickly in case any of you guys are wondering what the best settings are. So guys, let's hop right into settings here and take a look at what looks like the best settings for Fortnite. So first off, I just want to start off with the display here. Now a lot of people do go lower. They go down to 1600 by 900, or they go down to 1280 by 720. Those are all good options too for resolution. Don't think you have to choose, the highest available. I just use 1920 by 1080p because I think it looks the best, and I am a content creator, so I don't want anything to look blurry or whatever. But honestly, guys, if you don't mind like the slightly more pixelated screen, you can get a huge FPS boost by just dropping down a resolution or two. The next thing is frame rate. So I have mine on 240 FPS because I have a 240 hertz monitor. So technically you should just match it to whatever kind of monitor you have. If you have a 144 hertz monitor, you might want to set it there. If you have 120 hertz, then there's 120 FPS. Or if you only have a 60 FPS monitor, then 60 is where you'll want to be for your FPS, if that's what you have, is like a 60 hertz monitor. Otherwise, you can just do unlimited, but the only difficulty there, the only problem is it's gonna just cap out at whatever the max frame rate is. This can sometimes cause some stuttering if you don't have like a super high quality graphics card, and the reason being is once your environment changes, it's gonna reload like all your frames, and it can actually cause it to like drop really low in frames. So I like to cap mine to avoid that, and I just leave mine at 240 FPS. So guys, when it comes to your graphics settings here, basically you can choose whatever colorblind mode you think looks best. I like Deuteranope the most because I feel like it makes the purple really stand out. It looks really good in my opinion than just the normal off. I think this purple doesn't look nearly as good as this one, and that's literally the only thing I like more. I guess I kind of like the orange too. It's not as harsh, I don't feel like, with it off. You notice with it off, it doesn't look quite as soft as this kind of orange does, in my opinion. So I think that the Deuteranope, except for green, looks better. I actually prefer the off green rather than the on Deuteranope green, but it's a small sacrifice. It's whatever. So just use whichever one you think is best. Depending on whether you have like a TN panel or an IPS panel, you might have a slightly darker screen than you'd like, so you can crank this up. You can give yourself quite a bit more brightness with just this one feature here. I just like mine standard, so I just leave it where it's at. Alright guys, so getting down to the nit and gritty here, we're going to go under the graphics quality options. There is a lot of nuance in the industry, in the Fortnite community, about what settings are the best. I just want to mention that the view distance, it really doesn't make a huge difference at all. I have mine on far because I try to spot llamas like dropping out of the bus, and I want to see them a little easier. But you can play on near, that's not a problem. It'll give you a little bit of an FPS boost as well. Shadows I have off, anti-aliasing I just have off as well. Textures are one thing I like to have on because it really does make objects pop, and it makes them look a lot more realistic, and it kind of brings me back into the gameplay better, and it immerses me into the gameplay better. So I choose high for this, and that actually doesn't have hardly any FPS difference. You can try low if you have a pretty low end PC, just to make sure that you're getting the best quality possible. Effects and post-processing I just have on low as well. Now for these ones here, you actually do want to have motion blur off. I don't know why that got turned back on, but VSync you also want off. These two options are just really rubbish and terrible, so just keep them off. You'll definitely see a big improvement with having those off if you play with them on. Show FPS you do want on, that way you can tell at any point during your game if you have the max FPS you need. And then for rendering mode, this one, a lot of you guys will want to be on performance mode, believe it or not. Performance mode is 100% the best rendering mode in terms of performance. It just has the highest FPS reach possible. It has the lowest latency, less input delay, It is actually better in every single way. So you might be asking, Cameron, why do you have it on DirectX 11 then? And the reason being is I just think the grass looks terrible. That's literally the only reason. Otherwise, I'd play on performance mode. They tweaked performance mode a lot. They made it look really good. When it first launched performance mode, you couldn't even see guns from like more than 10 feet away. And that was completely terrible and unplayable. But now you can, I mean, they basically fixed all the bugs in performance mode. In fact, I don't even know why it still says alpha. In my opinion, it is past that alpha stage, and I think it looks really good. It looks pretty solid to me. I actually typically use that, but I'm not using it for now just because I think you get to see a little bit better, better textures and stuff when you're using a different rendering mode. So yeah, almost finishing up here, guys. So allow multi-threaded rendering. I always have this on. If you have more than 4 cores, you do want to have multi-rendering mode on. If you have 4 or less, you'll probably want to keep it off. You'll probably see the best performance that way. So the reason why you want to have this on or off, depending on your hardware, if it's on and you have multiple cores, like over 4 cores, it'll evenly displace performance among all the cores on your computer, and it can increase your FPS a huge amount that way. So if you have more than 4 cores, absolutely turn that on. Use GPU crash debugging doesn't do anything. Enabling this may have a slight impact. Yeah, it says right here that if you do enable it, it can have a small performance cost. So just keeping that off is probably best. Latency markers is good. That way you can see your latency and input delay in real time on screen. NVIDIA Reflex low latency. Definitely have this on plus boost. As long as your card is up to date and it's an NVIDIA video card, then this will help you. And then latency flash you also want on as well. That way you get notified if your input delay does drop. So yeah, guys, we just covered all of the display settings here. I just wanted to make this video to help some of you guys out. Some of you guys are wondering what kind of settings I'm using here, and these are the ones I recommend. And for anybody who's wondering, you know, I can do more in-depth stuff for you guys outside of Fortnite. I have done a ton of other videos covering like the NVIDIA control panel, the best Windows 10 gaming settings, and a bunch of other things like that. I'll probably cover all that in another video a bit later down the road. But I hope this helped you guys out. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out for now.